G'day guys, for sale, Radicon 80 to 1 reducing gearbox will be put on eBay very shortly.
Well guys, I've been up one of the local bush tracks and there's I think it's an old mine site. Well, it's an old mine site definitely. What they were mining, I don't know, possibly gold. Found this old reduction gearbox. Still rotates. So it's not locked up by the looks of it. It's if you can make out that, if I don't stand in the shadow, Radicon reducer, it's an 80 to 1, made by the Richardson Gears Proprietary Limited, Victoria, under licence from David Brown and Sons. I don't know if that's to do with David Brown tractors, but yeah, 80 to 1 ratio, 2000 RPM, it'll go to 25 RPM, I think. So if that's your input, that'll be your output. So turning that, she barely moves, so yeah, it's at least 80 to 1. Appears to be basically complete. Don't know if it's, don't know if it's any good or not, but we're going to pull it apart and have a look and see what we can find out. Yeah, I don't know, it's got, different marks here and there. And as I say, it's been outside for God knows how long. Don't know when the last time it would have been used, but nothing appears to be missing. Yeah, we'll stuff around with it and see if we can make something out. I don't know what I'll do with it, but clean it up for project. Just looking at this, guys, on this output shaft, that gear is actually pretty loose. No little grub screws in there or set screws. It's had this welded on at a later stage and had a bolt through it. I reckon that's been driving it. The keyway or something may be flogged out in there, or don't know, but I reckon that's a modification. It had a bolt through there, and I reckon she's, may have stripped a key or something. They've done that instead. Got that gear off, guys. Come off pretty easy. Well, the keyway seems to be fine. There's no keyway in the gear, which I thought was strange. So maybe that's how they held the bloody thing together. It just looks like a bit of a just looks like a bit of an afterthought to me. It doesn't look like a factory piece of steel. Anyway, we'll have a look. This pulley's this gear or sprocket is giving me a bit of trouble. It's got Allen keys in the back, but they're tight as you like and they're an odd size, so I have to grind a key. It's been a bit stubborn. I'll soak it overnight and put some heat on it. That should crack it loose. Took that back cover off. You can see the worm gear drive there's all right. Bloody old style roller bearing there. Yeah, looks like it's all right. We'll just tinker around, see what happens. Well, that's that drive shaft out. Yeah, come out easy enough actually. Just undo the two flanges, and that gives it clearance to lift up and over the gear in there. I'll have to work out how to get that cog off, but that's all right. But coming apart fairly easy. I don't think this is that old. It's been sitting out in the weather for a long time, obviously, but don't think it's that old. Yeah, I don't know. We should be able to do something with it. I don't know what I need an 80 to 1 bloody reduction gearbox for, but you never know. If you can see that, guys, the sun's sort of glaring off it. This whole housing is bolted onto that main section. It's got those bolts there, they're wired. They obviously didn't want them coming loose, so I don't know how the bloody hell they got the wire in there. Would have been fun. That thing screws on there, guys, as you saw. Well, you didn't see, I'm showing you now. I've got a feeling that's a retainer for that gear, which it is, brass gear. That just slid off, and in there is a keyway. See it in there. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward. All right. Well, we're getting into him now. Split the case. Yeah, there's the worm gear drive. Looks like a brass gear. Yeah. Don't know, it should, oh yeah, just lifts out. Yeah, it should clean up all right. Well, all the bits are cleaned up and painted, guys. Yeah, it all looks pretty good. Oh, I just got the other part of the housing over there, ready to start putting back. Cleaned up the studs, got some new nuts for that. Few of the other nuts were pretty crappy, so I've replaced them. Got a new seal coming for the input shaft there. Other than that, I've cut new gaskets. Everything else looks all right. Just got to do a little bit of work on those. There's a little cap that fits on top just for the filling the gearboxes. Just want to clean them up. So I can put back in and rewired. Yeah, let's start a bit of assembly. All the threads have been rerun, the studs have been cleaned up and the die's gone over them. Cut new gaskets. We'll sit the main output shaft in and have a bit of a look. It's got to go in one direction. I think I'll put a centre punch on the shaft that side near the drain plug. So yeah, I want to put it back the same way, obviously. Yeah, we'll see how it looks. Shaft just drops in, guys, and yeah, got to put the top on, obviously, then the end housings. Got to cut gaskets for them. Yeah, good place to start. As you probably know, guys, you can't put that top housing on until you put that counter shaft in. If you put it on, then you'll never get the shaft through in there, I don't think. So yeah, you have to put that in first, and I'll just put the end housing on just to get me spacing pretty right. Or distance for the shaft, rather. So if I figure if that's bolted on at the back, and you tap that home lightly and it stops, well, that's our position, roughly, I would imagine. So that can go together. Well, that sort of fell together pretty easy, guys. If those two shafts don't mesh up properly, the housings won't pull down, so you'll know straight away. None of this is tight yet. Got to cut gaskets for that, and that'll centre itself, and then we'll finally tighten it. Cut two new gaskets for these side flanges. We'll put them on now. There's no seal. We'll just put a little bit of grease on the shaft there. There's ridges in that probably stop the oil from getting all the way out, I'd imagine. Well, that's the counter shaft and main shaft housings together. Obviously, the input shaft housing's got to go on that. Working, as you can see. Yeah, flanges went on nice, pulled up nice. I left that rough on the end there. I could have turned that down, but then I'll lose some of the length of the shaft. I wasn't going to build it up either. Just depends, this is for sale, so someone might need that extra length, or who knows, but I didn't want to touch that. But turning over nicely. Yeah, it's starting to look a little bit better than what it did when I found it. Well, the input shaft housing's on and the bolts are wired, so they won't undo. That's how it was before. Yeah, not far off now. Yeah, just about there, guys. She's all put back together, basically. It's turning over. As I say, it's about an 80-to-1, so it's, you know, it's got a little bit of bloody reduction there. Just got to put the caps on, a couple of drain plugs. They're the caps. They're designed just so you can swing them out to check your levels. Don't know what I'll do with them yet. And yeah, they're some of the screws off it, but I'd like to do something a little bit better. Well, there it is, guys. She's done. It's rotating nicely. There's your information. As I said, yeah, 80-to-1. lubricate with gear. There's no oil in it yet. Yeah, I'll stick it on eBay and see if anyone's interested in it.